There lived a beautiful lady called Adeola. She was so beautiful that she had many people admire her and wished she agreed for them to date. But somehow she chose to go for Dele. She and Dele dated for 5 years. She was doing her OND while he was doing his BSc. But they both came from a poor background and just found ways to support each other through school. Adeola learned how to bake while in school, and by the time she finished, she became an expert baker and she was able to provide Dele with enough financial help for him to complete his master's degree. Following the graduation, he secured employment, and a year or so later, they got married and were blessed with two lovely children. Adeola's baking business was booming and Dele's work was succeeding. He was really making himself proud and his family. Everything was going smoothly until Dele made the decision to reveal his actual nature. He got a transfer to Ibadan and would come home every weekend. They seldom have issues, talk less of major issues. Then he told his wife, Deola, he would like her to borrow him some money for a project he was working on, which she did. She borrowed him that money. Subsequently, his returning of calls gradually decreased. He would not return Adeola's calls. On other days, he would simply not answer her calls. And on some days, he would completely switch off his phone for days and he would give flimsy excuses when he returned over the weekend. It seems that he has begun dating a woman in Ibadan, Adeola thought to herself, but she was not sure. After a few months, every weekend he comes home, he barely stays at home and will always be busy and excuse himself to receive calls so no one can hear what he was talking about on phone. Adeola was not sure of what to do. She was always praying and somehow panicking for it not to be what she was suspecting. She noticed every weekend he was home. He was always out shopping and stocking them in a very big box in a room, which he always locks up. And when Adeola asked repeatedly what those things were, he claimed that they were for a friend. He had gone shopping as usual the last weekend he was home, stocking the box with his usual purchases. She decided to take a look around for any clue so she could get as to what was happening after he and some friends had gone out that evening. She decided to poke around and know exactly what was happening if she could get a clue to anything at all. Adeola then discovered some copies of Dilly's wedding invitation in his laptop bag's secret compartment. The next weekend was going to be his wedding with another woman in a lavish ceremony. She remained silent and acted as if she saw nothing. She just watched his every move. She waited for him to leave that Sunday. She even called him to know if he had arrived Ibadan safely. Then she called her four elder brothers about what had happened and what she needed them to do for her. They all showed up with three giant trucks. She emptied the whole house without leaving a single pin. She took the car and the documents for the properties they bought together. Then she waited for Dele. He still called her during the weekend of the wedding, and she still responded very calmly and even joked around with him. After the wedding, he didn't come home that weekend. He was busy with his new bride. He called to give some flimsy excuse. She said it was fine. He should take his time. 2 weeks later, when he showed up, everything was gone. The house was empty and even echoing. He met an empty house. He wanted to run mad. Lily called Adeola's line and she responded calmly. How was your wedding? Asked Adeola. What are you talking about? Lily asked. The one you had with Natasha. Well, I knew about it and figured since you found yourself another wife, I wasn't needed anymore. I wish you a happy married life. Then she disconnected the line and discarded the SIM. He searched everywhere. He fought her family. He cried. He wailed and did whatever. But nobody knew where she was. So they said. They told him they didn't know where she was and with the kids. The police also got tired of the case because it was always back and forth. And that was it. 2 years later, it turned out that she had left the country with the kids. She did what was best for her and her kids. Did you think she overreacted or did she do well? Let's hear your opinion on this story in the comment section. Support this channel by subscribing and sharing. Do have a great day and bye for now.